Elon Musk just destroyed a Russian spy satellite. Welcome to Techno Universe. Let's find out more. Defending against a Russian jamming attempt in Ukraine was made possible by Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink, according to a senior Pentagon insider who revealed the lightning-fast response time the company had. During a presentation at the C4ISRNET Conference in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, Dave Tremper, Director of Electronic Warfare for the Office of the Secretary of Defense, revealed that Starlink was able to counter the attack more swiftly than the United States military would have been able to. Ukrainians have been able to stay connected thanks to Starlink, the satellite-based internet division of SpaceX, which has been operating during Russia's invasion of the country. Mykhailo Fedorov, Ukraine's vice prime minister, approached SpaceX CEO Elon Musk in late February, pleading for aid from the billionaire. Musk reacted by delivering Starlink kits to the Ukrainian military. Up to that point, Musk declared in a statement on March 25th that Starlink has withstood all hacking and jamming attempts. Tremper's comments are believed to have been the first time that Russian jamming attempts on Starlink systems has been exposed. In his statement, Tremper indicated that the day after reports of a Russian jamming attempt arose, Starlink was able to throw a line of code and correct it, and that the attack was no longer effective after that point. It was incredible to him how Starlink managed to counteract the attack, and he went on to say how they did it was eye-watering. According to Tremper, when it came to making those types of modifications, the United States was working on a vast timeline. It was a pretty intriguing case study to look at, he continued, referring to Starlink's capacity to correct the problem. As he put it, in the same manner that Starlink had the ability to upgrade when a threat emerged, we must be able to have that agility. Brigadier General Tad Clark, director of the Air Force's Electromagnetic Spectrum Superiority, stated during his remarks at the conference that the United States needed to develop new electromagnetic warfare systems that were more resilient and fast so that the country could respond to threats in a quick, lethal, and resilient manner. The country of Ukraine, according to a source familiar with Starlink's operations there, has more than 5,000 Starlink terminals, according to an article published in the Washington Post in late March. According to industry experts, the distinctive dish and trackable radio emissions utilized by Starlink could represent a concern to its consumers in Ukraine, according to information obtained by Insider. Elon Musk has established himself as a prominent supporter of the Ukrainian people and government since Russia's unlawful invasion of the country on February 24th. He has publicly expressed his support, which is unusual for a CEO of a large global firm such as Tesla or SpaceX to do so. Consequently, he set a precedent for future CEOs to follow in his footsteps. Beyond words, the billionaire has taken a number of efforts to support Ukraine and Ukrainians, despite the fact that he is fully aware that he does not hold the key to bringing the conflict to a close. Musk has delivered 3 shipments of Starlink terminals to Ukraine, which are used to connect to the satellite internet service supplied by his space company SpaceX and other satellite providers. Remote areas, towns, and villages that have been ravaged by Russian bombardment might remain connected to the outside world through the usage of these terminals, which are also used by Ukrainians in general to stay connected to their homeland. These agreements effectively allow a country whose communications infrastructure has been damaged by the Russian army to maintain access to a fast, secure, and independent internet connection, notwithstanding the acts of the Russian army. This is important because during a military conflict, each side strives to generate its own propaganda in order to get sympathy from the rest of the world, which is why this is so important. Because of this, everything must be done to prevent one party from getting an advantage in the communication war. Normally, Ukrainians will be able to continue to tell the inner story of their daily lives as a result of Musk's decision to ship Starlink terminals to the country. This will prevent intervention from Russia, which would otherwise dictate and shape the narrative. A massive cyber attack against Ukrainian infrastructure has been launched by Russia. Also surreptitiously supplied to Ukraine by the millionaire were Tesla Powerwalls, which are integrated battery systems that store solar energy. The Tesla Powerwalls were delivered in order to aid the war-torn country. Despite the fact that Russia and the United States are engaged in conventional combat, the country has also been drawn into a second struggle involving cyber attacks, notably those against communication infrastructure. U.S. intelligence specialists, according to the Washington Post, have concluded that Russian military espionage hackers were responsible for an attack on a satellite internet service that damaged Ukraine's military communications at the commencement of the conflict last February. Most likely, the Russian government had hacked into Ukrainian military and energy computer networks, as well as other vital computer networks, the month before the invasion to acquire intelligence and position themselves to potentially damage the systems. In a statement released on Tuesday, a representative from the United States company Viasat, based in Carlsbad, California, said the latest disruptions, which began on February 24, the same day that Russia invaded Ukraine, were caused by a hack of satellite modems belonging to tens of thousands of individuals in Ukraine and other European countries. Citizens, as well as personnel of Ukraine's military and other government organizations, were among those who were affected, according to Ukrainian officials who spoke to the publication. As reported by the New York Post, a Viasat spokesman claimed that new modems will be delivered to distributors so that they could be given to consumers who had been impacted by the cyber attack. Furthermore, these incursions cast question on the vulnerability of other broadband services that rely on poorly maintained firmware on their client network infrastructure. The Russians have not yet hacked into the Starlink terminals. However, despite their strength, these Russian cyber attacks have yet to have an influence on Starlink internet stations, which, according to Musk, allow Ukrainians to remain linked to the rest of the world. Musk claims in a tweet storm on March 25th that Starlink, at least thus far, has resisted all hacking and jamming attempts. Musk is the founder and CEO of SpaceX. For Ukraine and Ukrainians, this admission by Musk is a breath of fresh air since it implies that Russia does not have complete control over all communications to and from the country. This is crucial because, as the UN Secretary General has emphasized, the crisis, which has already cost hundreds of lives and driven millions of people to evacuate their homes, is here to stay. With no doubt, the information war will become more intense in the next few years. Residents of attack zones who have lost internet access, as well as government authorities in the affected areas, are taking advantage of Starlink technology. It has been announced that another cargo of Starlink stations have arrived. Mykhailo Fedorov, Ukraine's deputy prime minister, posted a picture of the gear on Twitter on March 18th, which was later removed. While Russia continues to limit access to the internet, the author notes that Ukraine is opening itself up to the entire world. Ukraine is a reliable source of information. The truth always wins out in the end. Following the unlawful invasion of Ukraine and the ensuing sanctions against the aggressor Russia, President Joe Biden warned that a wave of cybersecurity breaches carried out by the Kremlin and other quasi-official sources in the country was likely to follow. Mr. Biden indicated that his administration has growing intelligence that Russia will employ cyber warfare in retaliation against United States sanctions against the country. As the author explains, it is part of Russia's overall game plan. According to President Joe Biden, my administration is renewing those concerns today based on growing evidence indicating that the Russian government is evaluating alternatives for a potential cyber attack. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to this channel for more interesting information.